And the StayWired report really drives that point home.
Right.
It says that in 2024 alone, platforms like M-Pesa processed, get this, $314 billion.
Wow.
We're talking about a platform moving more money than the entire GDPs of a lot of countries.
It's incredible.
It really shows you how powerful mobile money can be.
Welcome to the very first edition of WeWire's weekly recap of key global trends and insights on macroeconomics, geopolitical shifts, currency movements, finance, trade, and top investment highlights.
With John and Wendy.
Hey everyone, ready to dive deep into fintech going global?
Sounds exciting.
We've got some really cool stuff to unpack today.
Oh, yeah.
We're looking at WeWire's StayWired report and Wire Times market movers.
Nice.
So we're going to see what makes these companies tick, what helps them succeed across borders.
I'm all ears.
And of course, we'll see if there are any hidden investment gems out there.
The treasure hunt.
Exactly. Plus, we'll zoom in on what's happening in specific regions, like Africa.
A continent ripe with fintech potential, for sure.
So, first things first, why are these fintech companies so eager to go global anyway?
Well, I'd say it's a mix of things.
Okay, like what?
For starters, there are a ton of markets that are underserved by traditional banks.
So fintech steps in to fill the gap.
Exactly. And
Right.
for the companies themselves, it's about diversifying their revenue streams.
Smart move.
Not to mention the allure of high-growth regions.
Speaking of high growth, the StayWired report really focuses on a few key areas: Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America. What's so special about these places?
It's like they've hit the fintech jackpot.
In what way?
Think about it. They've got growing middle classes, smartphone use is skyrocketing, and a huge chunk of the population doesn't even have a bank account.
So fintech is swooping in to provide those financial services.
Precisely. They're perfectly positioned to meet the demand in these regions.
The report highlights some pretty staggering numbers. Take mobile money in Africa, for example.
Yeah.
M-Pesa, just one platform, is processing $314 billion annually. That's insane.
It's mind-boggling, right?
It's bigger than some countries' entire economies.
That's the power of mobile money, especially where traditional banking is limited.
And then there's Southeast Asia, where something like 88% of people use e-wallets.
It's practically a way of life there. No surprise fintech companies are flocking to the region.
And let's not forget Latin America.
Oh yeah, Brazil and Mexico are quickly becoming fintech hubs.
So this global fintech wave, is it just going to keep getting bigger?
I'd say it's gaining momentum every day.
But it can't be all smooth sailing, right?
Yeah, true.
What are some of the roadblocks these companies are hitting?
Well, the report doesn't shy away from the challenges.
Like what?
Regulatory hurdles, for one.
So it's not just a matter of setting up shop and hoping for the best.
Definitely not. Imagine dealing with different rules and regulations in every country you operate in.
A compliance nightmare.
You got it. You've got anti-money laundering rules, know your customer protocols.
Right, so they have to verify identities and all that.
Yep, track transactions, make sure nothing shady is going on.
It's a lot to handle.
For sure. It takes serious resources and expertise to navigate all that.
The report gives some specific examples that really drive this home, like India's Unified Payments Interface, UPI.
Yeah, that one's a beast.
It requires companies to seamlessly integrate with government systems.
No easy feat.
And then there's the EU with its super strict data privacy rules, like PSD2, the Payment Services Directive 2.
The EU takes data protection very seriously.
So companies have to be super careful with how they handle user information.
Absolutely. It adds another layer of complexity.
It sounds like a real minefield out there.
It can be, but savvy companies are finding ways to navigate these challenges.
Hey, so?
Well, some are proactive and engage with local regulators early on.
So they're building those relationships before they even launch.
Exactly. It helps smooth the process. Others are turning to specialized platforms for help.
Oh, like what?
Things like compliance as a service to take some of the burden off their shoulders.
Clever.
And then there's the power of partnerships.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Exactly. The report mentions Flutterwave, an African payments company, joining forces with Alipay, the Chinese giant.
Wow, so they're bridging continents through collaboration.
It's a smart strategy. Partnering with local players who know the ropes can be a game changer.
Okay, but let's talk about the elephant in the room. Technology, it's like the invisible hand pushing this whole movement forward, right?
It's the backbone of the entire fintech revolution.
What kind of tech are we talking about?
Well, you've got cloud-based platforms, APIs that let different systems talk to each other, and AI working behind the scenes to optimize everything.
AI is involved too.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere. Fraud detection, customer onboarding, you name it.
And then there's blockchain, slowly but surely making its way into the scene.
The report talks about Ripple and its partnerships in Asia and the Middle East, using blockchain for cross-border transactions and remittances.
Cutting out the middleman and making things faster and cheaper.
That's the idea.
It's amazing how technology can be used to make things easier for the companies and give customers a better experience.
It's a win-win situation.
Fintech platforms are becoming more user-friendly, efficient, all thanks to these tech advancements.
Exactly. Technology is the driving force.
Okay, let's take a little detour from the StayWired report and peek at market movers for a minute. See what's shaking in the markets.
Always good to keep an eye on the market pulse.
Globally, we've got Tesla still promising growth despite, a little stumble on the stock market.
They're not letting a little dip get them down.
And Microsoft is having a bit of a tough time with cloud sales.
The tech landscape is always shifting. You got to stay agile.
And then there's the rise of DeepSeek, the Chinese AI powerhouse.
They're definitely one to watch, giving the U.S. tech giants a run for their money.
Closer to home, we've got Total Energies, struggling to get U.S. support for a big project in Africa. The intersection of geopolitics and energy, always an interesting mix.
It's never straightforward, is it?
But all these market movements, they're like clues.
Oh, yeah.
They tell us what's shaping the industry, the competition, the investment opportunities out there.
You got to read between the lines.
Speaking of investments, Market Movers also highlights the most active stocks. Names like NVIDIA, Rigetti Computing, and Meta. They're grabbing a lot of attention.
Interesting picks, and they all have ties to the global fintech space, even if they're not traditional fintech companies.
It's all connected. It's like this whole ecosystem.
Exactly. The global push for fintech, the hurdles, the technology, the investors, it's all intertwined.
Wow, so much to process. Before we zoom in on a specific region like Africa, what really jumps out at you about this whole global fintech thing?
Honestly, it's the sheer scale and speed of it all.
It's happening so fast.
It's a fundamental shift in how people access and manage their money worldwide.
Pretty amazing to witness.
Exciting and a little daunting at the same time.
I hear you. Okay, now that we've got the big picture, let's focus on Africa.
Okay.
What makes it such a unique player in the fintech world?
Well, in many ways, Africa is leading the charge. They've bypassed the traditional banking infrastructure that we take for granted in other parts of the world and embraced mobile money wholeheartedly.
Like they skipped a step.
Yeah. And it's become more than just convenience there. It's essential for millions of people.
And the StayWired report really drives that point home.
Right.
It says that in 2024 alone, platforms like M-Pesa processed, get this, $314 billion.
Wow.
We're talking about a platform moving more money than the entire GDPs of a lot of countries.
It's incredible.
It really shows you how powerful mobile money can be, especially where traditional banking is limited.
Yeah, it's not just about sending and receiving money either.
What else?
This whole mobile money structure is like a foundation for a whole new world of financial services. You see all these startups popping up, offering everything from microloans for small businesses to insurance products you can get right through your phone.
So mobile money is basically paving the way for a fintech revolution. And I bet investors are seeing this and getting really excited about Africa.
Oh, yeah. Venture capital is pouring into the region.
Why?
Everyone's drawn to the promise of high growth and big returns.
It's like the new gold rush.
But instead of digging for gold,
they're
investing in innovation.
I like that, investing in innovation.
Definitely.
Okay, so we've got all this excitement, but I'm sure there are some bumps in the road.
Of course.
What are some things that maybe caught fintech companies off guard in Africa?
Well, infrastructure is a big one.
In what way?
A lot of people have mobile phones.
Yeah.
But reliable internet access is still tricky in many places.
Oh, right.
And that's a problem when you're trying to roll out these complex fintech solutions that need a stable connection.
Makes sense.
It's like building a skyscraper on a shaky foundation.
Not a good idea.
Not at all.
And what about regulations? Is it still kind of a wild west in some countries?
It can be, yeah.
So how do companies deal with that?
navigating all those different regulatory frameworks across the continent is a real challenge.
I bet.
It's like solving a puzzle where the pieces keep changing shape.
So it's all about finding that balance, right?
Yeah.
Between encouraging innovation and having the right protections in place.
It's a delicate balancing act.
For sure.
Having the right regulations is key to getting investors interested in letting fintech grow.
Right.
But you also have to protect consumers and make sure the financial system is stable.
So everyone benefits.
Exactly.
Like walking a tightrope.
That's a good way to put it.
But even with all these challenges, the StayWired report seems pretty optimistic about Africa's fintech future.
Yeah, and for good reason.
Why is that?
The potential for growth is huge.
How so?
You've got a young population that's really comfortable with technology.
Right.
Plus, the regulations are evolving and becoming more open to innovation.
So Africa is set to become a major player in the global fintech scene.
I think so.
It's so exciting to see all this innovation happening, but I'm also curious about the human side of things.
Oh, yeah.
How is this fintech boom actually affecting people's lives on the ground?
That's a great question.
Is it really making a difference?
I think so.
Huh.
Fintech is giving people and businesses across the continent more access to financial services. It's empowering them.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Imagine a small business owner in a rural village.
Yeah.
They've never had access to credit before.
Right.
Now, with a microloan platform on their phone,
Yeah.
they can get the money they need to grow their business, hire more people, contribute to their community.
That's awesome.
Or think about families who depend on money sent from relatives working in other countries with mobile money. They can get that money right away, safely, and without huge fees or long waits.
So it's not just about the tech itself. It's about using it to solve real problems, make a difference in people's lives.
Exactly. Fintech is a tool for social and economic development.
I like that.
It's not just about profits. It's about making a positive impact.
Okay, so we've talked about the opportunities, the challenges, and the impact on people.
Right.
But let's zoom out for a second.
Okay.
Where does Africa fit in the big picture of global fintech?
Africa's becoming a real hotbed of innovation.
Oh, yeah.
It's drawing attention from investors and big financial institutions all over the world.
So they're not just catching up, they're actually leading the way in some areas.
Yeah, they're coming up with new solutions and approaches that are inspiring innovation everywhere.
It's pushing everyone to step up their game.
Exactly.
It feels like Africa's right at the forefront, shaping the future of finance.
I think so.
And speaking of shaping the future, let's switch gears for a minute and look at those specific investment ideas from the Market Movers report.
Sure.
Remember those most active stocks?
Mm-hmm.
NVIDIA, Rigetti Computing, and Meta.
Yeah.
They might not be traditional fintech companies,
Right.
but they're really involved in technologies that are influencing the future of finance. It's like following the money trail.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing where investors are putting their bets, it can give us some hints about what's coming next.
That makes sense.
And these three companies in particular,
Yeah.
I think they give us a pretty interesting glimpse into the future.
Let's start with NVIDIA.
Okay.
They're the top provider of GPUs.
Those powerful chips that are crucial for AI and machine learning.
Exactly.
And those technologies are totally transforming the financial sector.
They're revolutionizing everything from fraud detection to risk assessment.
So even though they're not directly offering financial services,
Right.
their technology is behind a lot of the innovation we're seeing.
It's like they're the engine under the hood.
Perfect analogy.
Their GPUs are the workhorses behind so many of those AI-driven solutions that are making fintech smarter, faster, more efficient.
Now let's talk about Rigetti Computing.
Okay.
They're pioneers in quantum computing.
Which has the potential to really shake things up in the financial industry.
It sounds pretty sci-fi.
But it's closer than you might think.
Okay, hold on. Quantum computing, that sounds super complicated. Can you break it down for me? How could it be used in finance?
Think of it this way. Quantum computing is like a super-powered engine.
Okay.
It can crunch numbers incredibly fast, way faster than a regular computer.
Wow.
It can solve problems that would normally take years, even centuries, for a classical computer.
So where does that fit into finance?
Well, one area is portfolio optimization.
What's that?
Imagine analyzing tons of data
Okay.
and finding the absolute best investment strategies, all thanks to quantum computing.
That's amazing.
And that's just one example. We're really just scratching the surface of what's possible.
So Rigetti Computing is one to keep an eye on if you're interested in the long-term future of fintech.
Absolutely.
And last but not least, we've got Meta, the old Facebook.
Right.
They're obviously a social media giant.
Yeah.
But they're getting more and more interested in the metaverse.
That virtual world where people can interact and do business. And that has big implications for the future of finance.
Because if people are spending more time in those virtual worlds, they're going to need ways to manage their money and buy stuff there.
It's a whole new economy emerging.
And Meta wants to be a part of that.
They're already exploring ways to integrate financial services into the metaverse.
Yeah.
Virtual currencies, digital wallets, things like that.
So another example of a company not usually associated with finance becoming a big player.
Yeah, the lines are getting blurry.
It's fascinating to see how it's all evolving.
It really is.
It shows how different industries are converging as technology changes.
It's breaking down those old barriers and creating exciting new possibilities.
It's amazing how it's all connected, isn't it?
What do you mean?
The innovation in Africa, those advancements from companies like NVIDIA and Rigetti, and Meta's ambitions with the metaverse.
Yeah.
It's all contributing to this huge transformation of finance.
We're seeing it happen right now.
It's like a whole new way of thinking about finance.
You're right. It's a paradigm shift.
And it's happening globally, with big implications for everyone.
From individuals to giant corporations.
It's an exciting time to be alive, for sure.
It makes you wonder what's next.
It really makes you think, with all this disruption happening, what about the old guard, the traditional financial institutions? Are they going to go extinct?
Extinct might be a bit strong,
Yeah.
but they definitely can't just sit back and watch the world change around them.
Right.
They have to adapt or they'll get left behind.
So it's kind of a join them if you can't beat them situation.
You could say that.
So what are they doing to adapt?
Well, the smart ones are starting to embrace the innovation.
How so?
They're partnering with those agile fintech startups.
That makes sense.
And finding new ways to keep their customers happy.
Because the needs are changing.
Exactly. The landscape is changing, so they have to change too.
And we're already seeing some banks doing that, right?
Yeah.
Dipping their toes into the fintech world, investing in startups, acquiring them, even launching their own digital platforms.
You're trying to learn the new moves.
Right. It's not like a winner-take-all game anymore.
Definitely not.
It's more about working together.
Collaboration.
Yeah, and figuring out how to leverage each other's strengths.
The financial world is becoming more diverse, and that's a good thing.
And ultimately, who benefits the most from all this?
The consumers, for sure.
How so?
More choices, better services.
Yeah.
Hopefully a more inclusive financial system that works for everyone.
Not just the privileged few.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into fintech going global, what's the one big thing you want our listeners to remember?
I think the biggest takeaway is that the world of finance is changing dramatically.
It's a revolution.
Technology, innovation, and the shift in power are reshaping the industry right in front of us.
And it's both challenging and exciting.
Exactly. It's like we're standing at the edge of a new frontier.
With endless possibility.
For investors, there are all these new opportunities. And for consumers, there's the potential for more access to financial services, more control over their money.
It's empowering.
It is.
And for all of us,
Yeah.
It's a reminder to stay curious, keep learning, and never settle for the status quo.
Who knows? Maybe one of our listeners will be the next big disruptor.
I love that the future of finance is being written right now, and it's full of possibilities.
That's what makes it so exciting.
Well said. It's been awesome exploring this world with you.
Likewise.
And to our listener, we hope this deep dive is giving you a new perspective on global fintech.
And all those incredible opportunities out there.
Keep diving deep.
StayWired Weekly Recap was produced by WeWire,
a B2B company bridging the banking gap between emerging markets and the world.
Tune in same time next week for the StayWired Weekly Recap.